Shakespeare. So I'll probably play around with this a little bit whilst we get going. But what are your kind of, when someone says that to you, what's your kind of response to? How do you feel about Shakespeare?
Well, my initial response is, oh, that's a lot of work. This is going to be a lot of mental, intellectual book work first, and then the stamina and the physical kind of cost or whatever,
That's actually really smart, because I think that one of the things that, because people who will interact with this will be lots of different people, but there'll be younger people, there'll be actors or training actors, right? And I think that it's, people forget how much work's involved in actually acting, for a start. But once you get into dealing with like plays like Shakespeare wrote, or even Dylan Thomas, or anything out there, like you have to mine it, right? You have to dig into it. So
Yeah.
What was your first experience of Shakespeare, and when was that?
Well, year 9, school, secondary school, Merchant of Venice.
How was that?
Bad. And I know everyone says that, and I really wish I could give a different turn on it, but I had no idea what we were doing. Or by the end of the, term at school, I remember thinking, oh, thank God, that's done.
What was it that made it? Sorry, what was it that made it really difficult?
I think poor teaching. Bless Mrs. Chatterton. She was a really lovely, really lovely woman. But I don't know. I couldn't have told you anything about any of the play at all. So that's not good. I remember kind of obsessing over the first few lines, Antonio's first, and being told they were really famous, but I had no idea what they really meant. I think. And then sort of getting to year 11 and doing Romeo and Juliet, but trying to write essays on it, and then really loving the Baz Luhrmann film and watching that obsessively. But then, there was an old, like an Italian version they used to show us.
Yeah, the Romeo and Juliet
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know the one you mean, by Franco Zeffirelli.
Yes, absolutely stunning. But again, just kind of not... There was no... force of language, like what does this language actually mean? And it's too quick. In the classroom environment of 30 kids, you've got to read that page, then it's my turn, and you can feel that you're counting, you're like 7 people until I speak, so I'll look for the... You're doing all that as a kid, other than actually going, what's this verb? And what does thee mean?
Yeah.
What's the difference between thee and thou?
And also at that age, do you even know what a verb is? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a doing word, right? Or a thing, but like, what does it actually mean to a young kid anyway?
And I wish they did more of an actor's approach. I wish they asked us questions like, why is this person speaking? Or what's the need to speak here? Or why is she on the balcony?
Yeah. Is that how you approach Shakespeare now, do you think? Like that kind of thing of like, why is she, or why are they speaking? What reason do they have to say?
Yeah, gosh, yeah. Otherwise, well, the first thing I do is I put it all in contemporary speech. I sort of write my own version of it next to the thing, because next to the text, because, and it is painstaking, because I look everything up in the dictionary. The Shakespeare thesaurus. I'm in there.
Yeah.
And that takes me so long. So long. Especially if you're playing, I don't know, King John.
Yeah, right. Was that a drama school thing? Slinger talks about this. I mean,
Does he?
Yeah, we had the same thing. We did the Shakespeare thesaurus thing. I know my ex-partner Sandy, when she was Essential, they all did the thesaurus thing. Like, so it is a drama school thing. But is that where you found it?
Yes, yeah. But I can't remember them ever telling us to like write it all out in our own.
No, less so that. I think more like understand every word you're saying.
Yeah.
And basically, if you don't, here's this amazing kind of
resource.
Yeah, onions,
yeah.
Is that right? Is it by onions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Slinger goes, know your onions. That's just kind of like, that's his methodology.
Yeah.
Well,
he's right, because otherwise you can't fool around with it, or you can't sort of guess. Or even when sometimes I catch myself out, I'm like, oh, I think I know what that means. And then you actually know your onions. And then you go, oh, whoa, you had no idea.
Yeah, you're right. Anytime you think you might know it, it's generally, yeah.
You're doing some kind of cloudy version of...
non-specific.
Yeah.
So, did you do it in youth theatre or anything when you were younger? Did you?
Yeah, and then I did I was really fond of a production of Richard III, which kind of, I was like, okay, I'd like to be an actor.
So how old were you then?
16.
Were you playing Richard III?
No, I wish. No, I was Queen Elizabeth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Royalty there, so.
Royalty.
Yeah.
And we did it in Margam Castle, which is in Margam Park near in Port Talbot. But we did it outside. Mm-hmm. So it was like site specific, and the castle was Richard's castle, and I just was like, oh my God, like we're doing act 4 or whatever it is, and then it started to rain, and I was in my aisles. I was like, this is what everything's all about. This is why I have to be an actor.
Once that all starts to happen, the gravitas of the part and everything else just sits in you, and you're like, I'm wet as well.
Yeah.
I'm dirty. I might roll in the mud in a minute, and then it'll be even better.
And then they'll really believe me.
Really buy into it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the third. So, how about like the Welsh classics? Did you find that easier because the language felt more like who you are, who you were, who you recognise yourself as being, or not?
Well, I'm ashamed to say I don't really know them apart from Under Milkwood.
I think most people would say that.
Will they?
To
Okay.
be fair.
I sound like, but I don't feel like I am the greatest advocate for, like, there's so many. I don't feel as Welsh as I sound.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't speak it.
Right. Is that why you don't feel it?
Maybe.
Because you feel like you're a bad Welsh person.
Yeah. And like I really, like my French is better than my Welsh.
Is that right?
I left school like with a French GCSE and not a Welsh one, and
okay.
I can count to 20 in Welsh.
I mean, I don't think that's...
And I know my colours. That's really, it's like...
But that's an education thing, that's not a person thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's...
And it's an area thing,
yeah,
and it's a resource and money thing, I guess.
All those things. So, when you come into RADA, right?
Yeah.
So, was that the first place you auditioned? Was that the first time you auditioned?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
didn't.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I shocked everyone. My family were like, how the have you done that?
I mean,
I got that, I was 17 auditioning and started.
That's incredible.
But I hadn't done a play until I was 16.
So then...
So it was weird.
Yeah. So you had to do a classical, I guess, for your audition.
Yes.
Do you remember what you did?
Yeah. I did Hermione from A Winter's Tale.
Okay. And did you feel like you knew what you were doing at that point when you auditioned with that play, with that character?
Yeah, I did. I really understood that speech, or I felt like I did anyway. Mm-hmm. It was the Sir Spare threats, the bug which you would fright me with I seek, to me can life be no commodity. It was when she's in the trial and she's standing up to her husband, and it ends with like, refer me to the oracle or something.
I mean, that's quite an advanced sort of like...
Yeah.
Kind of story for you at that age.
Well, she's saying to her husband, I never cheated on you, and you've taken my kids off me. But in a way, I revelled in the domestic of it. I could kind of... I was 17, so I probably just looked probably like younger again. Just, and maybe probably looked like I had no clue, but I kind of got the EastEndersness of it in a way. I could sort of grasp the... she's saying I'm pure of heart. How could you do this to me? I suppose my anchor to watching soaps or things, I was like, well, we've all seen that. Mm-hmm.
Also,
read that in other...
Depending on where you grew up, I grew up in Sheffield till I was like 15, and at my school, a long time ago in the 80s, it might sound ridiculous now, but there were girls who were pregnant when they were 11 at my school, who were doing science with like a 6-month bump. Like that was kind of, not lots, but there were probably there were 3 or 4 I remember, and probably a few others I didn't know. And that was just a thing. So something like, so those girls, not women at that age, girls, like, had kids when they were 13 or 12 or 14 or 15. So by the time they were like 17, they were like, they had been through like an extraordinary arc anyway. So it's not ridiculous. It seems it in a way, but in that period especially, not ridiculous.
No, you're right.
For that age.
Yeah, you're right.
So when you got to RADA, were you not intimidated? Was Shakespeare like a problem for you? Was it just kind of something else to be done? Because did you have great teachers who demystified it? Did Lerman's Romeo and Juliet demystify it? I don't know. What was it that kind of helped you?
Well, going at the age of, I turned 18 in the July and we started the course in the September. And I think I really, people ask you that I was rather hard. It was hard because I hadn't seen anything or read anything. And like, didn't know what the Cotter's Law was. Or I didn't know so many, I hadn't seen film, really. Or everything I sort of consumed was musical theatre up until that point, or like mainstream, I don't know, Star Wars or like anything Marvel, like growing up, which was great. But like I had no, French cinema was like, I remember going to the Curzon one of the first weeks of drama school and having my mind blown watching like a Michael Haneke film. Then you'd go and watch a Waiting for Godot, Beckett. It was like being hit in the face. A few times a week with like, okay, I don't know anything about anything. So when it came to Shakespeare, I was really embarrassed that I didn't know. I'd never seen Hamlet, and I knew to be or not to be. But from one day in drama A level, we had a really good drama A level teacher who was a Lambda graduate who showed us that speech. So the teaching of classical text, I really wish we had a really brilliant teacher called Helen Strange who demystified it and broke it down. And we started small. We did things like sonnets for ages and ages. We just really did, small pieces, and then it largely got more and more. But then she left, and we sort of had this like roster of temporary teachers, and it felt like it was a frustration, I know, from me and other people in the year group. We always felt like we were going back to basics, like we
because people would be restarting the analogies or the kind of or the framework of how they reference Shakespeare and stuff.
Well,
that's tough, right?
It was tough, and I think we felt but they just needed somebody, I think, to stay, to sort of be permanently doing just classical text. But Helen Strange was brilliant, and she was like, go and buy advice to the players. And so I found myself like going to that book a lot. What was your question? I don't think I answered that well.
No, you did, yeah. Do you think there's a, not a stigma, but there's a whole series of things that go along with Shakespeare, right? So, it can be so competitive, like drama school can be anyway.
Yeah.
But Shakespeare can be, because like you were saying, you didn't have a frame of reference for the Cotter's Law or for this or for that. So the thing is there should be no shame in any of that. But there's still, I remember my first day at drama school and people turning up and having read knew everything about everything, and I'm like, so I knew a bit about what Alexander was, but I didn't really know what Alexander's technique was, or I didn't know what this was, and you sort of like, oh no, yeah, I sort of know what that is, like, because there's a sort of competitiveness initially when you start drama school of how much you know.
Yeah.
Have you done National Youth Theatre?
Yeah.
Have you done this? Have you been to the Student Drama Festival?
Yeah. Have you done the Fringe before? Have you done,
Yeah. And I'd never done anything like that before I went to drama school. I was like, so it's National Youth Theatre. I didn't even know about it. Like, which is...
Same.
Yeah. And you know how many people now have done National Youth Theatre, because it always comes up, I was at NYT with them, yeah. It's like, so there's a whole thing with everything to do with that that's wrapped up in like some weird shame. But it shouldn't be shame, but there's a sort of like, if you don't know about it, then somehow you're less, or you're more inferior than somebody else.
Yeah.
So when for you at drama school did you feel with specifically Shakespeare, because that's what we're talking about, like that you started to feel like you had like
A grip.
you felt comfortable with it, if at all, you know?
The second year was brilliant because it was a lot of classical text. It was, we did Greeks, and then we did Jacobean, and then we did Restoration, and then we did Shakespeare, and then we were doing a Chekhov, and it felt the speed of the course, as in you kind of spinning plates. You're doing sort of like 4 projects at once, and you'd have scene study on the Maid's Tragedy, or the second Maid's Tragedy, and then in the afternoon you're doing King Lear, and it felt there was no time to. You kind of had to bin I don't know this, because it's rapidly coming at you, and then you've got like flamenco in the afternoon, and then you're doing an Irish accent, So it was kind of like it forced me to drop the worry about it all, and then I remember being asked by Mel Jessup, who was a brilliant acting teacher at RADA, if I wanted to represent RADA in the San Wanamaker Festival, and she stopped me in a corridor and said, look, we want you to do it's a 2-hander scene with you and Freddie Meredith. And I remember being like, okay, then you must think. It's a vote of confidence.
Of course it is.
I just was like, oh wow, you think I can handle the verse speaking thing.
And the pressure.
And the pressure,
Because,
yeah.
like, doing the Globe, right?
Yeah.
Like, doing that is like...
Rock star.
Yeah.
You come out of them double doors at the back.
Leave that shit there. And do it.
Yeah.
Don't be any of the other stuff, because there's no space for it.
Right? There's no space. Yeah, you've got to just drop that, and then...
Yeah.
And I just felt thrilled that she sort of trusted that I could, like, fill it with my voice, or,
So what did you do?
A scene from the second Maid's Tragedy. My character didn't have a name. She was called the Lady, I think. Okay. But again, it was like an affair. It was an affair scene. He was married to somebody else, and it was all, secretive and high stakes. Brilliant. Yeah.
So after that, well, how was that?
And then, you just feel like a god, you know. I mean, I was like 20 and just couldn't believe. I'd gone to see stuff at the Globe, but it's totally different when you're on that stage. I remember it being. I was in sort of heels, those character shoes. I remember feeling so short and small, which I am, and wanting to sort of travel across this, stride, and finding that like hard.
Yeah.
Because you don't rehearse. No. You get like one shot.
Yeah.
They just.
This is where you're going to go. This is where you come off.
Yeah. And also, so, all the drama schools are there, and then they announced RADA, and I think a few people like booed.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, oh, So I think we felt kind of like underdoggy in a way. It was like we better. That's not a word.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, but
I get it,
I got it. I kind of rated it and loved it, but but it felt exhilarating. And then in third year we did As You Like It, and I played Phoebe, which I absolutely loved, and we did Andromache, which is Alexandrian verse. But I left being like, I want to be at the RSC.
Right.
Because I can do, I've got a kind of a knack of this more than I do of TV.
And what did you do first? Was it the RSC?
Classical text-wise, it was at the RSC, but I auditioned for years and didn't get a peep. Yeah.
I mean, that's good to know. I mean, not because it's good to audition for years, but I think also people don't know how much work it takes to get there.
Yeah.
Some people obviously drop straight in. Of course, that happens, but but it's all, a lot of these things is always just about the commitment, isn't it? How much you're willing to kind of to do.
Yeah.
And so the first thing you did was
King John.
It was King John. Okay. Yeah. So I never saw it, but I obviously heard amazing things about it. So what was that like? What was it like going there and starting rehearsals? Did you rehearse in London?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We rehearsed in Clapham.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Same thing of like starting drama school again, sort of like all those things.
Yeah.
Kind of. And
the shoulders were going out, on the first day, you have to say, I'm Rosie and I'm playing King John in King John. And I was
Wow.
like, but again, I was 24. But yeah, I couldn't believe my luck. It was like, when actors kind of go, I had the phone call.
Hang on, who directed this?
Eleanor Road.
Ah, okay, right. Okay, then I thought it was Maria Abbott for some reason. But
Well, she did King John before.
she did, I know, with...
Alex Waldman, Pippa Nixon.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
She played the bastard.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yes, sorry.
No.
So...
I couldn't believe they were trusting me with that. I could tell you where I was. I was on Holloway Road, and just like, that moment.
Was it scary?
Yeah.
From a point of view of like, did you sort of immediately go, I need to go and read it all again 15 times now, tonight, or something?
Yeah.
Like, how did you manage that?
Well, I remember it was something like 5 rounds. It wasn't like an audition, then a recall, oh, you've got it. It was like you coming in 4 or 5 times. And I think I pretty much did all of the scenes that were big. Oh God, I can see now in my bedroom, I just had it all in like reams of notes, and I just really wanted it, Yeah, it was like, okay, I better read this 5 million times, get that, know your onions, get the thesaurus out. Okay, you need to... And I think I was off book on day 1 because I was so scared. Yeah, but then you have 8 weeks rehearsal and you realise, you're like, okay.
Yeah, but like, that's, I mean, if something so complicated as that, once you've got it in you, like, you can then do everything. Right?
Yeah.
You can then play, you can do anything you want once it's there.
Yeah. And it's coming from a place, like, intrinsically then. You're not thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not searching.
You're not going, what's next? Yeah.
And there's a space for searching, of course, and everything with acting, like, figuring out the paths out in the moment and stuff, of course, but with something so big, it's just to have that kind of security.
Yeah.
Means you can then work, right?
Yeah, properly, or do other things, do physical things, and just...
Yeah. Were you the only person off book on day 1?
I think so.
No, I mean, I think that is fantastic.
I don't think anyone knew until, because we did 2 weeks then of sitting around the table, as you did.
Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter. Like, it's something just you did.
But it meant I then could read... there was a historian who'd written a biography of King John, which, like, Shakespeare had sort of snatched bits of and then had completely betrayed a lot of it. But see, even, like, actors, once they knew I'd been cast, would sort of say things like, oh, that's the Shakespeare that nobody does. Or that's, like, his, like, worst play.
Oh, thanks.
Or like, King John's the bad king. And then I'd be like, what? Oh, right, oh God, I didn't see the Maria Arbig version. I didn't see when Josie Rock did one. I just so again, same, grasping for reference.
Yeah. But you're right, like, because if you're off book, because in rehearsals it always comes out of going, oh, there's this thing that's written about him, or there's and actually you have the time to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas quite often you'd be like, am I going to spend the time reading and doing the research on this, which I know I should, or I'm going to actually spend my time getting those lines in, which is a priority, of course. Because, I mean, 8 weeks is a nice amount of time, but still.
Yeah, I don't know any other company that does that.
No, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like, is it ever going to happen? Are we actually going to go up at any point, or is this some sort of weird Sartre thing where we just kind of constantly go around in circles?
Yeah, or you're like in week 6 and you've only done up to act 3, and you're kind of like...
Well, let's get off the table then.
Yeah, yeah. Are we ever actually going to
okay.
put this together?
So, from rehearsals through to opening, like, is there anything in that process which you really remember as being a sort of a transitional point, or something that kind of you felt really shifted you as a character or as an actress? Actor or actress?
Well, I'd say actress, but I don't really.
No, I mean, I kind of like...
Just like the sound.
And,
yeah.
A nice sibilant S on this. Or,
yeah.
Okay.
And 16-year-old me, Malcolm Castle in the Rain, I'd be like, I'm an actress. Just...
yeah. Rain more. Okay, so so that process into opening.
Yes, I learnt so much actually, because we did it for 6 months. So it was an 8-month job, so we rehearsed for 2, and then we did it for 6 months. And I'd never done a play for that length of time. and I haven't done a play for that length of time since. And it was like that, you know, I think it was in rep with 2 other plays for the last 2 months of it. So for 4 months it was us.
Yeah.
Like, it was 8 shows a week. Us. So I just felt athletically better, voice way better, you know, knew how to breathe. And, you know, something just drops and you become like a sort of a creature of...
Yeah.
Yeah. You just think... This was really tiring at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
But by the end,
Fit.
Yeah.
And also, you must have felt like the muscularity and just like using your mouth, using your tongue, using your lips, all those things that you train for. But like for something that, I mean, that's a huge run.
Yeah.
Like the muscularity you must have felt so much easier in delivering those lines as you move through that process.
Yeah, definitely.
Or at least at the end, possibly, maybe.
Yeah. I've found it really hard at the beginning.
Yeah.
But by the end...
So, what was it like?
But I had bad reviews. And so I learned a lot about... Yeah. So I learned a lot about that as well, though.
Yeah.
You know, like how you see that side of things and how you're going to... If you're going to be an actor for a long... or hopefully a large part of your life, how are you going to sort of...
How you deal with self.
Yeah, how you deal with yourself, yeah.
How did you deal with it?
I've just never read any reviews since.
Seriously?
Ever. Even when they've been people tell me they've been really good. Yeah. And people have gone, Rosie, read them. If I'm having a crisis of confidence, my dad will be like, why don't you just read the Guardian review? And I just can't bring myself to. Because... Well,
it's a decision, right? If you do it once, you either do it or you don't do it. You kind of...
Yeah, but that... I was really hurt by it. But I'm quite sort of good at kind of going like, oh, well, you know, can I swear? Yeah. I'm like, fuck you then, like, you know. But then knowing that I had to do it for another 6 months or 5.5 months or however long there was left, it was the first time I suddenly was like, oh, you have to find a way. Because there is literally 94 more performances. So you better... not think about what they wrote.
Also, you kind of, you know when you're performing if something feels like, for whatever a critic can say, that's fine, but like, they're just seeing a whole thing, right? And actually, if you're finding truth in that moment, you can't ever control what the play is.
Yeah.
You can control you, and you can control your story and the people you interact with, but you can't control the play.
No.
Also, some people just don't like plays, or don't like that play, or don't like... I mean, we touched on this earlier, but just like the idea of just like how, you know, we live in this, we're constantly in this time where suddenly critics will like everything or they'll like nothing. I mean, most of the time now I just see everything that is out there, everybody loves. There's like, or then there's a period of time where, you know, one critic will hate everything he sees, and you know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, in a way, kind of fuck all, like, what does that even mean? Do you know what I mean? If people are enjoying it who are coming to watch it, if it's, you know...
And it's selling, then, what are we...
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it doesn't make it easy.
But when you're I don't know, playing a lead, you do, or I think, oh, well, I'm sort of, this is on my shoulders. And actually it's not, it's always a company venture, but it's, the design has been decided before I came on board. The director's in charge of every decision, really.
Yeah, and
it's not, yeah.
What was your sort of big takeaway from King John then? If there was one, was there something that kind of, you just sort of... No.
The muscularity of performance, and I don't know, not reading reviews or allowing any of that to... Because when you go into a process, if you start going, this has got to be really good, or I've got to be really good in this one, then you kill yourself. You make a rod for your own back, I think.
Yeah, and also like it was your first professional Shakespeare, right? So there's that's kind of takes a lot of strength of character to do that, because there's also the industry thing of going, which you touched on just there, of going, well, this has to be good because, like, I have to make this the best thing I can do because I want more work. I want to grow as an artist. I want to kind of have more opportunities.
Yeah.
So there's always that part of it, isn't there? The kind of that just sits there somewhere.
Yeah.
In the melee. Overall, did you have what was your experience like? Did you feel?
I loved it. I loved it, and I loved being up in Stratford and going back to the thesaurus. Just there was never a week where I was just being put through my paces. So there was never a week. There was always something that I could go back to the text and think, do you actually know what that means? Or what is actually going on here? Because it's so rich. That's such a simple thing to say, but I'd be on stage some nights and a line would sort of come out, and obviously you don't want to trip yourself up, but I'd be like, wow, I've never heard that in that line before. Or I might do like the tiniest thing different, or you might sort of stress something, or somebody else does, and yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing about having a really good run, right? Because quite often you might find those things when you finish a play.
Yeah.
If you've got a short run of a play, or you're an actor and you're doing 3 weeks in the summer outside or something, you might not get a chance because your rehearsals could be 2 weeks, and then you're on for 3 weeks in Cambridge in the grounds of whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then you finish those productions and you kind of like, and those things drop in weeks later or months later where you go, oh, that's what that meant. But with a better, longer run,
yeah,
you're getting an opportunity to discover more, which it sounds like you did.
And it's happening without you seeking for it, because it's because of the repetition.
Yeah.
You're surprised by it.
Yeah.
It starts to surprise you.
And then those interactions become freer and more live as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Then you feel more comfortable, so you're more open to the time and the space in those things. So after that, what did you do next?
Then we went into lockdown. So we didn't do the last 3 shows.
Oh, so you had no closure.
No closure. It was like, yeah, I just moved back to Wales. It was wild. We'd done the last show without knowing. I know. And I was in my cottage in Waterside, and I just remember a WhatsApp coming through because Museum of Baghdad was on, or maybe it was the Whip, and they were warming up. And yeah, I think the exec just came on stage and was like, go home.
Yeah.
Boris has just made the announcement on the 5 o'clock news. The show's not going on tonight. Actually, your Stratford journey ends now. You all have to leave.
So they got rid of you? They didn't say you could stay?
No, they got rid of us because it was like that was our last week contractually anyway.
Right, okay.
And then, yeah. So my friend came and knocked my door and was like, you have to leave. We were all leaving. Like, pack your bags. And all of us running to the dressing rooms and packing our dressing rooms really quickly. Yeah. In panic. It wasn't fun.
No,
it was so serious.
Yeah, it was serious, yeah. It's weird when you look back at it now, but it was a serious, the whole thing was a serious.
Yeah.
So how did you manage that? Like, so you finished the show, you went straight back to Port Talbot.
Yeah, my dad came, bless him, and picked me up.
Great. And then you're there for
2 years.
Really?
I mean,
give or take.
Me and Slinger were really lucky. I had 6 months without anything, and I was just like heartbroken. Do you remember the theatres were closing, and it really felt like they weren't ever going to open again, or like life was going to change, and that we were being told to retrain. And 6 months later, me and Slinger did Oleana in Bath, and then that kept sort of stopping us starting. Yeah.
How is it going from Shakespeare to Mamet? Because I mean, Mamet has got its own, I know we're talking about Shakespeare here, but like the complexity of Mamet is it's not any easier, is it? Let's be honest.
No, and in an accent, and you know,
Were you off book for rehearsals for that?
Yeah, because there was so much time.
Oh, you're that
I checked into it because I was,
But you have.
But I had to audition. Yeah. had to audition and got the train or the bus or whatever you were allowed to get up to London. I did an audition that was like, they were 10 metres at the bottom of the room. Yeah. But obsessed with it. Like, I loved that play. Obsessed with the writing, in particular in Oleana.
I would agree. It's one of the most extraordinary plays anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you two were insanely good in that.
That's very kind of you.
No, but you really were. Like, I've seen Oleana before, but like, that was exactly. Oh my God, the way you just destroyed him. Insane. It was really, really good, Rosie. It was really good. So,
Thanks, Dan.
have you auditioned for Shakespeare on film?
Never.
No. Okay. I wonder what that might have been like as a film doer. And have you done Shakespeare since?
Yes.
You did another play. Yeah. What?
I did Richard III at the RSC.
That's right. Okay.
But I played Lady Anne, which was in rep with All's Well That Ends Well.
Right.
And I played Helena, and then the year after I went back and I did Midsummer Night's Dream.
Ah, yeah, okay. So talk about that. So what was it like going back after that, and how has, if at all, how has your process changed, or have you changed, or how did you change between those two?
Do you know, this is really weird, but I remember I auditioned, I don't know how candid I can be, I don't know if this is like of any use.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as you're okay saying it.
Yeah. I auditioned for, Ray Fiennes did Richard III at the Almeida in 2015, and I got down to the last two to play Lady Anne, and I didn't get it. And I remember sort of being so upset to a kind of a weird amount. Yeah, just like really depressed about that I didn't get that job. Like, in a way, I'm like, get a grip, bro. It's like, but, so I sort of had it in that I was like, I have to play Lady Anne one day. And Greg Duran was doing Richard III. And so, yeah, I just told my agent, I was like, can you just ask if I can play Lady Anne? And then I auditioned for Helena and All's Well That Ends Well. But I loved All's Well That Ends Well, but I definitely, my interest in the season was to play Lady Anne.
Yeah.
There's something about that scene, Set down, your honourable lord, with him and the coffin. I just think it's one of the best things ever written.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you feel now? Because everyone talks about this idea of Shakespeare speaks to us at different times in our lives as well, and like for you at that point, that was the best scene ever written. Do you still feel that way about it?
Talking about, well, I'm going to talk about Oleana a little bit, because when we were doing that play, there was lots of, there were a few actresses who come up to me and they said, oh, you poor actress having to play Carol. I know. And I just didn't get it. I was like, what do you mean? They were like, oh, she's a monster, or it must be really hard to put that subject matter on stage. And, hashtag Me Too had happened 2 years previous, and it was in the ether. And then the year, like a few months after then, did Lady Anne. And I feel like I was on the same kind of reason to make art.
Yeah.
People were like, poor Lady Anne in that scene. And yes, poor Lady Anne. But I felt like as a young woman, when you engage with me, hashtag Me Too, I felt really strongly at the time about putting women in difficult positions on stage. And I have no problem with like portraying that so that we can look at it as a society and learn from it.
Also, they don't feel poor, me.
Right, that's it. You've just said it way better than me. Yeah.
In fact, I would say the opposite in some ways.
Yeah.
Because, like, they take control of those moments.
Absolutely, and give as good as they get.
Yeah.
Like, they're a match. Carol's a match for the professor, and Lady Anne's a match for Richard. Oh, that's how I saw it. And yes, they don't have any power, or they don't have, any riches or money or whatever, and the wars happened, and she's clinging on, but there's something in the writing of the tennis match between the two of them. They're a meeting of minds with the same the chemistry between them's off the charts, and actually, they do have total power. I mean, that's the funny thing. The Professor's the weak character in Oleana. Actually, like, poor him, poor pathetic him. Actually, not just poor him, but like, just the idiocy of the. I mean, we've so many since Oleana. You could probably count, for weeks on, the amount of situations where stories like this have come out in the media of like, misuse of power, misappropriation of like, even just bullshit of like Mandelson and Starmer, all this kind of crazy stuff, which is basically politics. It's the same deal. It's like they're doing it to themselves, actually, and it's funny how people have that kind of take on. Yeah, I was reading lots of books at the time, like that brilliant actress, I've forgotten her last name, but she wrote a book called Why Did You Stay?
Okay.
And it was about like why, in women in violent situations at home, why do they not leave, or and I just felt really passionate about putting those women on stage and looking at it and realising the complexity of it.
So it's never straightforward, is it? Ever?
No, ever.
Yeah. And those stories are always about, strangely, like, not that story about Oleana, but like that. Why did you stay? It's, a lot of them are driven by love, by the complexities that surround that emotional connect, like dependency. Not just dependency though, like the belief that something will get better or will change or will. And how long do you leave it? And how long do you? I don't know that book, but I just.
But then we're asking, why did you stay? More than we're asking, why do you behave like that to them?
Sure. Yeah.
The angle of,
Yeah. The gaze is here, and it should be looking over here. So.
Yeah. But it's interesting that I did Oleana, and then that kind of came after it. And I sort of wasn't done with that subject matter.
No. So after Oleana, you did
Richard III,
and then you did Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes, but Richard III was in rep with All's Well That Ends Well.
Ah, right, okay.
So that was cool.
Okay.
So I did Helena.
Amazing.
In that, yeah. Which was a really difficult play. Mm-hmm. I don't think I wholly understood it. Mm-hmm. But that's okay.
Yeah. Yes, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it you struggled with?
There's the whole, the character Helena is obsessed with Bertram, and there's you could say, stalkery element to her, and that we never really see women like. And with Baby Reindeer, like, you could say that she's that woman in that. There's a veering into that. Yeah. She follows him across countries, and then there's the bed swap. How do you? I can't remember what we called it. The bed switch or the bed swap. Sure. Where she pretends to be another woman, and they in the dark. She hides in a cupboard or something, and then jumps into the bed, and the other woman leaves, and because there's no light. No. And apparently Helen's the only Shakespearean heroine that's working class.
Is that right?
Yeah. I know, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But it's a woman who's, I don't know, she's the ward, or she's of that household, and then marries the prince. I guess he's not the prince, but he's he's the gentleman of that household. But she does it through, wacky and manipulative, and so it was great because it was doing Lady Anne, and then I was sort of playing that, and we set it modern day, so it was about the obsession of social media, and if you watching somebody's, or you're on.
Did you feel like that helped, or was it just, did it get in the way, or? For
me, it got in the way because there's sort of storylines like the letter needs to take 3 days to get somewhere, and you're like, she just texted him. like that. I don't know how you get around that. I just don't think you do. Like it was still a letter in our production, and I was sort of actor brain kind of being bothered by that.
No, I get that though, because I think those things like bother me anyway. I just think you have to, you can change, you can put it anywhere, but it has to make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even if it's modern day and phones don't exist, like at least that's the thing.
Yeah.
Or something. It's an ulterior sort of.
But it worked in the way that if you are going to stalk someone, you can look at their Instagram for 12 hours a day and, you know, be obsessed with, or you can make Pinterest boards of them. And
God, I never thought.
it was that. Yeah, that was what my character was.
That's
It was kind of great because I wore, like, when you first met my character, she was like, I was in school uniform and, you know, this virgin and but it was, I was quite weird with it. And I loved that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, yeah. And totally obsessed, like, love hearts, you know, and making paintings of him and all that, obsession with Harry Styles and, you know, teenagers are like that.
Sounds really interesting, yeah.
And then it veered into, and then the whole bed swap happened in a nightclub toilet, but it was like a UV party.
Right, okay.
So me and this girl, we wore like the same wig and the same
so you can
UV.
See under the black light when.
Yeah. But that play, it gets a bad rap because I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I wonder. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I wonder if we'd be more interested in it if it was a male.
I mean, yeah.
Because she is abusive and she is awful.
Yeah.
And deceptive and
also like the fact that she's working class as well. It's another kind of stigma that's baked into that. Right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yes.
Obvious, and we laugh at that as well.
We do.
Yeah. We laugh at poverty, or we laugh at those less fortunate.
Right.
Which we do as a society anyway. Right?
And the total stigma on young girls being pregnant.
Yeah. So then you did Midsummer's Dream.
Yes.
Oh, did you play Midsummer's Dream?
Pack.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was really cool.
How long did that run for?
They churned the runs then. It was in 2024, and I think it played for 2 months. I think we rehearsed for 2 months. Still 8 weeks. Oh my god!
What a great luxury, though.
Such a luxury.
Yeah.
Such a way, luxury.
Let's give people rehearsals to really like bed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And play.
Yeah,
play.
Yeah. How was playing Puck?
Really hard.
Yeah.
Like one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Is that because Puck as a character, like, just is a legacy part as well for so many people?
Yeah. And in a way, I don't want to offend, but in a way, it's something that you should trust a comedian with, or like I'm way more comfortable and safer in a scene. You do something, I do something, you know, and the scene happens because we pass the ball back and forth. Whereas Puck doesn't feel like, this is me as an actor personally talking, it doesn't feel like a fair exchange from you and the audience because there's a pressure to come out and do a bit.
Yeah.
To come and, you know, and I felt really lonely. Even like the track backstage, I do the whole show and I wouldn't see anyone because there'd be hardly any apart from Oberon.
Yeah. Everyone's asleep half the time.
Everyone's asleep. Yeah, or I was.
Julep on there.
Just, and a pressure to be funny, or a pressure to be.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The clowns are really hard.
The clowns are the hardest.
You know, it's like, yeah, which is, I guess, why you're right. A lot of the time, comedians do play those parts, right?
Yeah. It's really vulnerable making as well. So just stand and do the clown thing.
So when did you start with that?
Terrified again, just terrified, and relied heavily on there being a design before I got there. That was a great. Yeah, it was designed really beautifully. The fairies were kind of electric. They were sparks. The concept was they were sparks of electric. They were like lightning bolts. So they were, and so I remember day one the designer sort of showed, and it was kind of the fairies were 80s bands references. Yeah. So I sort of started there, and I knew that I was going to have blue hair. And then...
I love the way that's just dropped that line. And you know I was
going to have blue hair, because they told me.
Yeah. And also, obviously.
Yeah, obviously blue hair.
Yeah.
Something has to be blue.
Yeah.
And then there was, the designer just sort of showed this caricature of... my brain is like a sieve.
What you
80s band, Susie and the...
Banshees.
Yes. It was like basically her. So I was like, okay, got it.
Right. Okay.
So started listening to all that music, and then do you remember the Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker?
Yeah.
There's the horrendous but beautiful scene where he dances down the stairs.
It's super beautiful. Yeah. We can talk about that film for hours, but anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Nicked that.
Great.
And just did a lot of that. Wanted to sort of move like that through it all, and danced a lot through every scene, and worked from there really.
What did you wear, costume wise?
Braces.
Okay.
And pixie boots, and I had a big like a lipstick smile, and very jokery. And mean. I was mean with it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, although I had burnout.
Did you?
So I was unwell, and I just hated myself because I couldn't. My body was just saying like, you need time off.
Yeah.
But I did Mackinac, and I had no time off, which is my fault.
Oh, so you did Mackinac before that?
In Bath.
And then you went down, then you came back into town Mackinac afterwards?
Yeah, and sort of in between it did Midsummer Night's Dream. So my body just kept making me ill.
Yeah.
Which is so boring.
Well, I mean, it's a lesson, isn't it? And actually, it's a good lesson to have when you're young, like you, because actually,
Thanks.
Well, I mean, like, you're saying thanks for age?
Saying I'm young. I felt about 93.
What the audience can't see is this guy behind the camera is like 92. No, but I mean, it's a good lesson to have because, like, we as actors, we're always in positions of wanting to please, right? We want to kind of be, no, I won't let everyone down. I'm here to kind of, and it feels like at least now, I feel like actors are being taught, at least at drama school, to kind of be more protective over their themselves, their own health. You know, maybe that's not the case everywhere, but I think generally people feel a bit more like that.
Yeah.
And I think theatre's taking more seriously now.
Definitely.
Actually, whereas they never did.
Definitely, they never did.
So that's good.
Yeah. You can totally see why, I don't know, the Hellraisers were the Hellraisers. Because if you're, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's
you need an outlet, but I didn't party because I couldn't. I just had burnout. I just kept. Well, I'd do the play and I'd be kind of, you know. Yeah. And then I had shin splints for so much of it. So I was like, I did this big tap number. Again, like, what was my bit? Yeah. So I just did this kind of watched loads of Gene Kelly though, and desperately tried to like.
Yeah. Did you tap before?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I grew up tapping.
Great.
And I hadn't tapped for 15 years. So out came Welsh tapping.
Okay. Yeah.
Out came the tap shoes, dusted them off. And like.
I'm using all my skills, Ma.
Yes.
It was worth it.
My mum did come and she was like, well, you see, that was me. I put you in them dance classes. And I was like, you did. It has come into... But yeah, I remember the director was like, Eleanor Road was kind of like, we need a scene change. We need sort of something happening whilst we get into the forest or wherever they are. I mean, like, I have nothing apart from I can do a tap number.
Great.
Like, but then tapping in like Dr. Martens or boots or whatever I wore. And I had shin splints. But you don't...
Well, because there's no movement between the shin and the ankle, right?
There's no...
Tapping in Dr. Martens,
yeah. And then you're like hitting the ground hard. Learned that one. That was what I learned on that job.
Yeah, so, okay.
But loved it. It was like loving it, but in pain.
Do you feel like the work that you've done in those 3 productions, right? When Missed Everything.
No.
Do you feel like those have all filtered into, of course it would have done in some way, but like, you know, then you go into something like Mackinac, like, which, I mean, I saw it play years ago, and it's extraordinary play. And what you guys did with it was insanely good. Like, it was a very smart, very clever. Obviously, your performance was incredible as well. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not saying in that way. I'm just saying it was an amazing, and you know, the industry thought it was amazing. It was an amazing production and an amazing performance. And do you feel that your classical stuff has permeated into your contemporary work?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that gives you the stamina and the... Also to be physically big on stage. In Mackinac, having to sort of be large physically and lots of limbs and things happening. And I think Pac helped, actually.
Do you think... Because one of the things that, you know, I think is a really great strength that you have is like your... I don't want to say boldness, because I don't want bold to feel like big. I don't mean that, but I mean the bravery of being exposed, okay, which in Oleanna, I haven't seen Shakespeare, so I'm really sorry, but like in Oleanna, Mackinac, Guess How Much, like the thing that is really great in what you do is like you're exposed. You're like an open nerd in a way, and that's a really amazing attribute to have. So is that something that you feel you've always carried as a performer, or is it something that you found along the way through whatever productions, you know, or through training? Or...
Well, that's so kind of you to say.
You don't even have to accept that as being the truth, but that's just what I observe. Like that kind of, that's what I want to see when I go and see productions. I want to see I want to believe that what's happening. I know I'm in a theatre, but I still want to feel connected to the sort of rawness of something. I'm going to see a production, like, you know.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I'm not being tricked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I guess you probably want to feel that as well when you go and watch a play.
Yeah, of course.
So...
But then there is an argument of going, you can one do that 8 times a week and look after themselves as the actor. And the more I've done parts which require extremity of either vocal or situation, like Guess How Much I Love You, there were moments in that where I was like, you can really look after yourself technically, Rosie, and I wouldn't have known how to do that if I hadn't done Mackinac.
Great.
Because in the moment where they take the baby away and Guess How Much I Love You, there was a kind of like a physical like drop to the floor and a big sound, a sound of grief, which was written in the stage directions to do. And then, this sounds like such a wankery thing to say, but I knew that I could make choices physically with my body that would... You kind of move into like expressionism. You kind of go in then, okay, I'm going to hit this note down here, and or vocally I'm not that strong today, so it's comfier in the higher register, so I'll hit that note, and or it'll be somewhere up there. And then if I pull these shapes or explore the freedom in this shape with my body, then that does that, which feels like a trick, and in a way it is, but it's technical other than going there?
I don't think it's. I think it's training. I think what it sounds like what you're saying is that through that process of developing as an actress, you just learn to find the balance between the two parts of what you actually need, right? You need truth, you need technique, you need training. All these things support you. And one of the things I was sort of saying earlier is one of the things I'm struggling with. Some of the things I go and see is I feel like those things they're not understood enough. With no disrespect to any younger actors, but like they're not understood enough, and I think they're really important because they look after you.
Yeah.
They protect you.
Your breath will help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I think Ben Kingsley said this when we interviewed him years ago. He said, he was talking about Heath Ledger, actually mentioning it, talking about Joker and Joaquin Phoenix, but he was talking about this idea of like stretching the elastic band to a point where it just doesn't go back, right? Or it loses its elasticity, just suddenly it's just there. It's a horrible analogy, but like, but it's super smart because he's like, you can't do that. Like, you can if you're Oliver Reed and you just use alcohol to get through it, but you're not going to survive past here. Or there's a price to be paid for all of those things.
Yeah, there is.
If you want a career that has longevity, you have to learn that quite quickly.
Yeah.
Or you never learn it, possibly. And so it sounds like it's...
What was the elastic band that he was talking? Technique?
He was just talking about the idea that if you go there...
Oh God, yeah.
Without technique, with technique, but you go there emotionally and you absolutely mine yourself to the point where on screen it's like, oh God, this guy's... it might not go back. Christian Bale...
my God, it's
Christian
terrifying.
Bale with, it's in The Machinist.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like...
It's so upsetting.
I worked with him on Batman after he'd done The Machinist, right? And he was like 17 stone on Batman. I was like, how on earth did he get from here to here in like 6 months?
Oh, stop.
But
really?
But it's interesting now because he's consistently physically quite the same in a lot of roles because he's obviously gone, I've done all that. My body can't sustain that anymore. So I'm he's a brilliant actor, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he doesn't need to do that. And possibly it's the same thing. You can have that for a certain length of time, but if you're already kind of vulnerable, like Heath Ledger was apparently, and you just stretch it to that point, well, you're just left with your own thoughts, right? And no one else knows how to. No one else can engage with that. You don't really want people to engage with that.
Yeah.
You don't know how to let people in to engage with that.
Yeah.
And so you're on your own.
Uh-huh.
But people will keep paying you because, and that's kind of what
you do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the danger, right? Of being able to manifest all those things, but without a kind of structure that supports you, as you can just listen to me. But you can find yourself.
No, but you're saying it brilliantly.
But you can find yourself out on the other side with nothing, and no one cares.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it sounds like what you've done is extraordinary because you found these. The requirement is these different elements to all work together. To a burnout.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
It happens everywhere.
And even I remember Denise Goff talking about doing people, places, and things, and weirdly, I think a mate of mine was friends with her on Facebook, and I think she actually wrote a status just saying, I can't come down to stage door to see you, and I certainly can't come down in the bar and drink alcohol with my mates who come. Like, she was saying to her friends, if anybody's seen this status, thank you so much for coming. I'm so proud of the play, but I can't come and drink 3 vodkas or 3 pints or 2, and then get up and do it again the next day. Mm. It just can't. And I remember reading that and being like, wow. Mm. Yep. Because nobody tells you, or...
Yeah. Well, and that's right. No one tells you, and actually that's part of... I'm totally honestly, this is one of the most important things that we've spoken about from a point of view of of just being a performer.
Yeah.
Because nobody tells you, and actually it's in fact some people might try and pass it over to you, but you don't really understand at a certain point until you do yourself. And I spoke to a sex trafficking survivor for my documentary, and spoke to her a few years later, and she wasn't going to do the interview, and I travelled 3 hours to speak to her without a camera, so I wanted to do an update, and she was like, and I wanted just to talk to her, and I was like, do you want to do this, and this is why we should do it, but I don't mind if you don't. And eventually she said, yeah, okay, we'll do it. I said, do you have the camera? I was like, I haven't got the camera with me because I didn't want to assume that you would want to do it. And she was like, okay, so you're going to drive back tomorrow? I was like, yeah, we'll drive back tomorrow. It was in America, and so we drove back 4 hours actually out to where she was. She did this amazing interview, but what she said, and this is going back with what you're talking about with Denise and all those other kind of performers who have to go through, who go into this world, is like, it took for the hour we interviewed Drea, who was the girl who survived trafficking, it took her 2 days to be able to find a way through dealing with that trauma for that interview. That's the truth of it. So like, she's really mindful about talking about this stuff because she knows it's going to take 2 days, and it gets harder because the further away she gets from it, the more she has to dig back into it or fall back into it.
Yeah.
And that's about sex trafficking. But the reality is, if we're working on productions like you're talking about, you know, they demand so much from the performers, and you know, we all have to look after each other, but also we have to learn how to look after ourselves.
Yeah.
And put parameters out there, whether it be not coming downstairs and meeting people. And that's not rude, that's just taking care.
Yeah.
You know, people don't like that, but like...
I know.
But that's...
The old Vic got me a drama therapist, and she would talk about that.
Fantastic.
Really brilliantly, and was like, you're not going, don't, you need to put the boundaries in.
Yeah.
Which I'm really bad at doing.
No, but that's great,
but,
though, right?
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about now, theatre's taking things more seriously. So, any advice for any performers who are new to Shakespeare? I mean, we've kind of said it a lot in here anyway, but who are approaching Shakespeare, or who are about to start drama school, or about to start doing their first play, and maybe they've never performed it before, you know, but they've been actors for 10 years. So, like, what would you say? Like, or maybe easier, what would you say to yourself?
Yeah.
Maybe that's more helpful.
I think, yeah. I start a job in a few months, and I'm like, your breath is your friend. Do yoga, do some kind of breath work, or some kind of, because that, to do 8 shows a week of anything. Drink 3 litres or 2 litres of water a day when you're performing. Hydration is key for your brain to work that quickly. I know that's so facile and like, but I cannot do, especially, I don't know, I turn 30 and it just doesn't happen at the kind of anymore. It can't be coffee and Diet Coke, Rosie, before a show anymore. Look after yourselves. I know we've said this. Eat well, sleep 8 hours, 9 hours a night, more if you're a woman. Eat breakfast. Find the joy in it as well, even if you're doing something tragic. It will eventually affect you. Doing Guess How Much I Love You, by the last few weeks, I was really unhappy. I found myself like struggling to kind of but you have to find buoyancy in other things. Like, look out, like, treat yourself, do really nice things, and if it's classical text, just revel in it. Find the intellectual stimulation in it, and keep digging, because there's always more that you don't understand. And stop thinking about it after 10 o'clock or after 10:30, whenever your show comes down. Just give yourself or even if it is like a really tragic subject matter, I should just say, okay, we've understood that now. Like, stop, put the books down on baby loss, because we've understood that now. You've done enough for today. Like, work block it. If I was an accountant, I'd do somebody's tax return from 9 till 5 and then I'd stop. I think boundaries are really good. To look after yourself, just be really, and then once it's done, like put it away and have a nice time in the evening. And make friends. The more I do theatre, I'm like, this has got to be a lovely time. I hope hope that's good advice.
No, I think it's great.
Actors, I think actors are the best people.
Agreed.
I absolutely love them, and yeah, in work, just get to know them, and I don't know, because you're only there for theatre's ephemeral, isn't it? It's happening and it's gone.
Yeah.
So you've got to love all that as well, and to be an actor, I think, there's so much rejection. So just you've got to love that bit.
If you could play anyone in any play, is there anyone you sort of like, whatever, a bash at?
I would love to do Joan of Arc. Oh yeah. Maybe the George Bernshore version, or I feel like everyone says Lady M, but okay, yeah. I would love to do Betrayal by Harold Pinter. I would love to do. There's a really cool play, and nobody will do it with me. Called Blackbird by David Harrower, and it's really gruesome. But I just find that it's a bit like Oriana, but I find that relationship.
Why wouldn't they do it?
It requires the bloke in it to play a paedophile, and I think people they just don't want to play that, which I get.
I get. Actually.
Jeff Daniels did it with Michelle Williams like 10 years ago on Broadway. It hasn't really been done since. But it's like one of those plays I read when I was 18 because somebody said, I think a teacher rather was like, you should read this.
Do you have any favourite sonnets and what you think about the sonnets?
I forgot what number it is.
I can never remember the number I like as well. What I like is methinks no face so gracious is as mine, no shape so true, no truth of such account. For this sin there is no remedy. I can't remember the rest of it, but it's like it's like this thing about basically it plays into my star sign, which is me being a Leo, basically. This idea of being sort of like I must be perfect somewhere in there. It's a really interesting one, but the reality of that moment is it's not quite what you see. It's like Dorian Gray's picture.
Oh gosh.
But I can never remember the number of it. Like 52 maybe, I think, or something.
I was gonna say mine's 54, but
maybe I just like those.
maybe we just think we're like something. Mine starts with how like a winter hath my absence been from thee, the pleasure of the fleeting year. What freezings have I felt, what dark days seen, yes. What old December bareness everywhere. And yet this time removed was summer's time, the teeming autumn big with rich increase, bearing the wanton burden of the prime like widowed wombs after their lord's decease. But it's about missing somebody so much.
Yeah. Well, the sonnets are
it's like
beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you sort of said that earlier, but in a way, that's where everyone should start, right? Because they're so short, they're so kind of rich in story. Years ago, we interviewed John Barton. At that point, John was...
Dan!
It was the most incredible
so
interview.
Cool!
And he was a very, very old man. I can't think how old he was at that point. He lived in a flat, a really beautiful apartment, not a flat, like a house, off of Regent Street, but like an apartment building, so 5 rooms in a big sort of mansion block or whatever. And he was sort of like, he was like a tiny man, and he was drinking whiskey and Red Bull, and like just loads of whiskey. Anyway, he could quote and speak any sonnet, sonnet, just literally, it was just all inside, and he could quote and speak any of the scenes from the plays. He just knew everything. He looked like he shouldn't know anything at this point, but he was so. And when we did a workshop at the National Studio for our film, and he came and did sonnet workshop with 12 actors we put together for this little company for a week, and we'd get up and start, and he'd go, he'd just ask these beautiful questions like, but what is the, and you'd say, you can't respond, and go, no, try it again, and you'd do that. and Ian McKellen came and did workshops as well with us, like, and just, you know, it was a sort of amazing sort of week of just these extraordinary elders passing on their kind of, you know, which is what, in a way, that's one of the reasons why I still am compelled to do these interviews, because I'm constantly fascinated about the passing on of something in our industry which is actually like positive and joyful, which doesn't get into the ramifications of how the industry functions outside of us, you know, from money, from like grants, from star
power,
casting, and all those other things that that are part of our industry. We have to accept those. That's just part of how it works. But the richness of what we are as a community, is our strength actually, and is exciting, I think.
Do you know, I love that, because like Judi Dench, she sort of says things like, oh, I'll do a bit of, I wish we still talked about it like that. Oh, I'll just do a bit of, and then Ian McKellen, he was on like, I don't know.
He was on the Jimmy Kimmel show.
Yeah, and he was like, I'll just do some Thomas More.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the best speech that America could possibly listen to.
Yeah, I know. Just stood up.
Grant them removed, and up you got. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so yeah. There's this, you know, Judi Dench, when we were interviewing her, she was talking about.
What was she like, Dan?
Oh, she's wonderful. But she was talking about this. I can't remember exactly the quote. I should do, because I've heard it a million times. But the unravelled sleeve of time or something. But she was like, it's like the unravelled sleeve of time. She just said this thing, and she went, I mean, who wrote that? She's still moved by the act of someone, of just what those words actually, how they affect her.
Yeah.
Just, you know, the idea that if you wrote those words, you just, you don't need to write anymore, because, you know, they're perfect. It's like, and every single actor, the older actors who were supposed to speak about this idea of, you know, his work is for every actor at every time in their career. You know, Burkoff, like, was on fire about, you know, it's just a really wonderful thing that we can all give to the next generation.
Yeah.
You know, and in 15 years you might want to do another one. You know, if I'm still around in 15 years, then we could do another one, because then time is like, you know, it doesn't matter if you've changed.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like the path is always going to change. Anyway, let's wrap it there. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure.
That was really interesting.
Was it?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.